I caught myself cutting my hair last night in the top, child. It did not work well.
I can't. Hold on. I think my volume is down. Of course. Okay. So let's talk about this.
Did not work well.
I can't. Hold on. I think my volume is down. Of course. Okay. So let's talk about this.
Did not work well.
Okay, so let's talk about marriage do's and don'ts, or just relationship do's and don'ts. I'm trying to find it so I can share it. I don't know where my pages are. Anyway, okay, so when you discuss something before marriage, right? And then somewhere between grand opening and grand closing, you decide that your mind has shifted, or the values have shifted, or you just grew in a different direction. What do you do? So here's the scenario, okay? Okay. The scenario is, before you get married, you and this young gentleman decide that you are not going to have kids. He's already had a vasectomy. He only has one child, and he wants to use his resources to travel the world and have fun. But y'all are in your 40s. His child is grown now, but you've never had kids. So y'all discussed it before the marriage, and both of y'all come to the consensus that that is fine. Somewhere between I do and 2 or 3 years later, you decide that you in fact want kids. Now, you talk about it for 2 years, you cry, you fuss, you argue, and he says, look, I can't do this anymore. Okay, fine, we will adopt. Y'all adopt a child. About 2 years after that, he never stops traveling. He continues to travel. He just travels without you. Hollywood is 11 o'clock.
I see that.
Okay, so you're going to go to your meeting? Hate you. So he starts traveling alone, and then he meets someone, right? And they just start traveling as friends because she's a single woman.
Friends. Ain't no friends.
Well, so he met her. So he met her on one of the trips. Okay, so you know how you have like travel clubs? So usually it's like the same people traveling all the time. What?
Honey, if I'm traveling with a nice gentleman that's married, it is not because we're friends.
Well, no. So like it was a group of people initially traveling, like
Oh,
a travel
gotcha.
club.
Follow you now.
Okay,
Different
so
scenario.
you and him used to travel in this travel club, but y'all adopted a baby, and so you decided you would stay home with the baby, and
And
he
he would keep
continued to
on going on
travel.
these trips. Gotcha. With
Right,
with the traveling club.
with the traveling club. So he ended up meeting this woman in the travel club, and him and her forged a bond, and now they are in a relationship unbeknownst to you.
Entanglement. Okay.
Entanglement. Yes, an entanglement. Okay. So it unravels. Somehow you find out. And now he's saying, okay, I never wanted this child. I told you I just wanted to travel. Either you can stay in this relationship and I'm going to continue to be in this entanglement until you can travel, or we can get a divorce and I'm not going to help you take care of that child. How is this my fault? I told you from the beginning, this is not what I wanted. Who would you say is the fault here? Mm-hmm. She ran away. Mm-hmm. Okay, so since my co-host has disappeared, Who would you say is in fault here? Is it the wife who agreed in the beginning of the relationship, or is it the husband that agreed after his wife continued to force him? Well, not force him, but talk about it. So would it be the wife because she knew previously to getting married? Or would it be the husband who's in fault because he agreed to it eventually? Who do you who do you guys think is in fault here? Okay. So this is what we're talking about. Okay, so let me go over it again. Okay, so two people in their 40s get meet. They date for 2 years. The full 2 years, the man tells her, okay, I'm not willing to get married. I'm not willing to have any more children. I already have one child. I'm in this stage of my life where I just want to have travel. And the wife and the girlfriend at the time agreed to that, even though she did not have any children. She agreed to that and said, okay, that was fine. Somewhere from I do to 2 years later, she decided that she wanted to bear fruit. She wanted children, or at least a child. They talked about it, cried, fought, went to a therapist for 2 years, and he eventually said, yes, okay, but we have to adopt because I had a vasectomy. But she knew they had a vasectomy. He had a vasectomy before they got married. Okay, so while she was with the baby, they had the baby, so she could not travel because of the baby. She was home taking care of the baby. They while he was still traveling, somebody in their travel club befriended each other and became in an entanglement. Okay. So the wife finds out and he tells her, listen, either you are going to allow me to continue to travel with this woman in our entanglement, or I can divorce you, but you won't get any support for the child because I didn't want this anyway. Who is at fault here? Who is at fault? Would you say it was the husband because he gave up and said, okay, um I'll agree to this, or would it have been the wife because initially she knew he did not want kids? Okay, so Felix said, as you see, they are both at fault. He was clear from the beginning. Okay, so if they are, why are they both? Why are they both at fault? What part was his fault, even though he knew from the beginning? But so why? Okay, so Catrice, why do you feel like they're both at fault? And Felix, why should she take him to court when he said all he wanted to do was travel anyway? Right. So, right. As far as the court is concerned, she will get child support. But is it morally right for her to sue him for child support when she knew that he wanted his money for traveling because that's what he said in the beginning. He told her in the beginning before they even got married, they had this conversation that he wanted to use his money for traveling. He retired early, and this is what he wanted to do with his income. And Catrice, why do you think both of them are at fault? What part should each of them own for this? The wife knew from the beginning he didn't want any children. The husband should not have compromised. Okay. Okay. So I see what you're saying. So she was at fault because she switched up after the I do's, and he was at fault because he should have just stuck to his hard no. So even his love for her, even though his love for her made him compromise, well, not made him, but his love for her softened his absolute no from the beginning, and so now he's being held accountable for his heart, his making the decision with his heart versus making a good decision with his head. So Catrice, do you believe that he should be sued for child support? Do you think that it is morally right for her to take him to court for child support? Being that she knew he wanted his money to travel, and that's what he continued to do. So is it that because he found someone else, that's what made it wrong? Or because he just didn't want the relationship anymore? What part was wrong about what he did? Okay, so let's see what Catrice says. Okay, Catrice says, yes, the child should not suffer because of two people that do not stick to their convictions. So she should receive, what you're saying is she should receive child support from him so that she can take care of the child. Okay, but here's the thing. He gave her two options. The first option is to stay married. So that means she will have access to a place to stay, blah, 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 with the child. And they will continue to share the bills so he can travel comfortably, and he can still travel comfortably, or get a divorce and him not wanting to pay child support. So he gave her two options, not just one. He gave her two options. But with the first option, he's still going to have his side piece so that they can travel comfortably. Okay, so let me tell you my opinion. In my opinion, I feel like, and I know a lot of people are going to jump on me, but this is just how I feel. I feel like that she was wrong. I feel like a lot of things like this happen after people get married, and that's why people are choosing not to get married, because a lot of people say that people change after the I do's, not just with decisions like this, but sexually. They were like humping like bunnies before they got married, and then like 2 years later, all of a sudden they were not that sexually active, even though they knew their significant other, their spouse, was very sexually active. So now they are not satisfying their spouse. For a lot of women, I know they say that they marry for security, but then they get with the gentleman. They get married, and the gentleman all of a sudden relaxes, and now he does not. It's more a financial responsibility on her versus what it was in the beginning. And a lot of things I think people are choosing not to stick to. Like, a lot of people are talking this stuff. I seriously believe this is why it is so important to have premarital counseling. But even with that, you have to be honest with the counselor. You have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest with your soon to be mate. Because if you're just saying something to get married or to get that ring or to get down that altar, and then you change your mind, that makes you an unreliable person. I absolutely, I agree. I don't believe he's being a bully. I believe he's giving her options. He told her before they got married, he absolutely wanted no children because he wanted to travel. She was okay with that. After they got married, she changed her mind and decided that she wanted kids, and that was what was more important to her than traveling. And he just compromised and did the he and the whole, and then they adopted. And Catrice, I completely agree. People should, if you're going to get married, that's what I was just talking about. You should not play games just to get down the aisle or just to get a ring. You should have your convictions and stay to them. You do not marry somebody on the pretense of changing them. You don't marry them on a pretense of a come up. You don't marry them on the pretense of I can change. Okay, so Felix said he's an idiot. He is married to her. He wants to travel with another young lady or get a divorce. No, man. Okay. So, yeah, that is kind of idiotic. I think if I were her, I do believe I would just get a divorce and go on about my way. I would not, unless I just could not afford the child by myself, I would just do it on my own. I would not bother him with child support. Oh yeah, I think that's where the child support came from. I think the child support was more about her. Daisha, you're so crazy. Most unfortunate. It really is most unfortunate. I think the child support came from more of I'm not going to say petty because she may really need it, but I just want to say sometimes we can use child support to try to be vindictive. Right. So I think maybe that's what it was. But maybe she really cannot afford it. Well, that's true. Felix said, get the child support. Child shouldn't suffer because he's an idiot and you are stubborn. That's correct. But if I can afford the child by myself very comfortably, I would not hold him to it because now, if we got married on the basis of adopting, then I would sue him for child support because we made that decision before we got married. But if I knew from the beginning that child is not what he wanted, I most definitely would not sue him for child support. I would just eat that if I could by myself. Now, if I could not afford it, there's a horse of another color. Then I probably I most definitely would sue him for some help. Yeah. So that's like Miss Daisha said, this is most unfortunate. And I think in all types of relationships, we meet people and we try to, I'm gonna give you a good example. I had a friend, a boyfriend, that I really liked, but he was not a giver as myself. And he did talk about marriage, but I came to the conclusion that marriage would not be good for us. It would not be beneficial for me because I am a giver and he is not. He's a very selfish person. I don't think he means to be a selfish person. I think that who can very comfortably afford a child by themselves? Kids are ridiculously expensive. The child suffers more than likely. Well, it depends. If you're making $150,000 to $200,000 a year, and it's just you and that child, you are a single person with that one child, you can most definitely comfortably raise a child. People do it all the time with $40,000 or $50,000. I mean, I have friends that make a regular income and they raise their children very, very good. Not, I mean, I don't see 60, 70,000. I mean, they can. It just depends on what you say as raising. What is raising for you? Truth, but nothing about this scenario says that she is making the amount of money. Okay, well, when they first met, both of them were traveling heavily. Both of them was traveling heavily. Typically, people with money don't make bad money decisions. That seems to be true also, Felix. Yes, you're right. This was my bad money decision from the jump. Right. I think that, like Daisha said, it's just most unfortunate. I think we just need to learn how to be with people that we get along with and that we're going down the same road, or at least not just splashing one person rowing one way and another person rowing a different way, and we just didn't still splashing water. I think that we need to be in that boat rowing the same way. And I think that's what happened in my last relationship. We just were not. And this marriage I get into this time has to be it. We can't, I no more divorces. And so I cannot be with somebody that does not give the way I give. That's because it's just going to leave me always feeling used and abused. And I'm just not going to do that. So if I see these qualities in him, or the lack of them in him, before we even get married, why get married? I mean, I can't get married on the contingency that he's going to all of a sudden wake up and be a giver. He said his stinginess comes from being very poor as a child. Well, I was not very poor as a child. I don't know. I had another friend to say she was poor as a child, and so she was the same way, but she fought her way out of it. She says now sometimes she still sees selfish tendencies in herself, but she has grown tremendously. Well, I don't know if he's ever gonna grow. He just asked me for a favor the other day and didn't see anything wrong with asking me to do it for free. And this is stuff I charge people $500 or $600 for. And I said to him, so you don't think I should get paid? And he was like, well, how much you going to charge me? The same as I charge everybody else. And he just could not understand that. Like it just blew his mind that I was going to charge him. And I don't understand that. Like, I have to make a living. You're not my husband. I have to pay my bills. I have to pay my rent. I have to do a lot of things. So I'm not sure why he thought, but that just goes back to the stinginess in him. And do you think I'm going to marry that? No, absolutely not. No, nay. No, I'm not. So this goes back to making sure that we stick to our values before we say the I do's, and making sure that we know what we want and who we are. Well, first and foremost, we got to figure out who we are, because if we don't know who we are, then we don't know what we want. And in dating, I've ran into a lot of men who want more kids. Honey, I'm in my 40s. I'm not having no more kids, honey. So if you don't have no child at 40, I'm probably not the person for you. I'm absolutely not the person for you. The baby may have been the wife's way of trying to become financially secure. I'm throwing stuff out there. I believe folk love the process of getting married, planning, but don't realize marriage is a continual process. Absolutely, Catrice. Absolutely. That could have been her way. Yeah, that could have been her way, and that's most unfortunate. That's most unfortunate. Yes. Lyman said, make sure you stick to your values. Absolutely. Don't. Yeah. You really have to be self-pleased. You have to make sure that what you are working for, your values, your character and integrity, you have to make sure you stay integral with what your core values are. You have to be true to yourself, and it goes back to making sure you know yourself. Because if you don't know yourself, how can you work on your values? How can you know what your values are? As for me, I don't want anybody with very small kids. Well, I don't know. I don't think I do though. That's one thing that I really have to think about because I do have grandchildren. My grandchildren are very important to me. The difference between in grandchildren are that you get to take them home when you feel like it. With your kids, you can't do that. So even though my sons can stay with me as long as they want. This is why I got the house the size that I did, so they can stay with me as long as they want to. My children as well. I do believe in a tight family circle, even though I know sometimes it's very capping to children, because if my sons or daughters say, Mom, come at home, I'm just fine with that. A lot of people say I'm wrong, that I should make them stand on their own 2 feet, and I may be. I guess I have to look deep within. Yeah. I'm thinking that a man that has small kids, I don't really think they're for me. Um, I don't think so because like you said, I'm able to just drop them off when I get ready. The grandkids. If that child belongs to you, honey, that just be yours. I mean, you got to pay for a babysitter. So I don't know, but I'm about like the gentleman, honey. I just want to travel, child. I want to travel, have a good time. I just want to live it up, and I don't know. So you just have to be true to yourself until you can figure out what it is that you want or don't want. A lot of men, since I've been in my 40s, have asked me to have children for them. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the childbearing hips, child. I don't know, but absolutely not. Nay, nay. No more kids. Plus, my kids are having kids. I find that very odd. I know back in the day it happened a lot because people started having kids at a very early age. And so you could have been still having kids when your mom was having kids. And birth control was not as deliberate as it is now. It was not so easy to get. I do get that, but I'm not, honey. If I get pregnant now, I probably would gain 500 pounds and never lose it, honey. Natalie would not be as you know her. So no, I have a lot of dogs. And the dogs bark all the time. My grandchildren are used to it, but I don't know if a baby would be used to that. I guess it would get used to it, but no. I don't want to be pregnant anymore. No, I'm good. So they need to find somebody that wants a child. There's a lot of women out here that want children, and would spend a lot of money to ensure that they have children. I think that they should find those women. I'm not one of them. And children are very expensive. What still? Oh yeah. It does still happen. I have she's not a friend. Anyway, so I know someone that she's pregnant now, and her daughter just had a child, and me and her are the same age. I'm not gonna do that to my children. I have a daughter now who is pregnant, and I think that this is her time. I've already had my time, and I think this should be very enjoyable for her. And I should not lick the red off her apple. I should give her her time. So I'm just gonna let her have her time to be pregnant and enjoy it without being intrusive, without saying, look, I'm pregnant too. I mean, we have to give our kids, let them have some space. Let them enjoy things that were enjoyable or not so enjoyable. I don't know. Depends on how you look at it. But let them do them. You know, we've already had our time. We've had our heyday. And I think we should just let people be who they are and let our children enjoy their time. To stop trying to snatch the youth of our children to reclaim our youth, because you can't go back. You can just get better, but you cannot go back and try to reclaim your youth. You just have to be who you are and move forward and just be a better you. But trying to reclaim your youth is just god awful, and it's not very beneficial for anyone. So that's that. So that's my stance on that situation. Yep. Amen. Hallelujah. Catrice. Hallelujah. Yep. So that's all I have to talk about today. It was very interesting, this dialogue. Right. They're most definitely Brandy. That's their season, not ours. And I think it's very intrusive for us to just take the balloons from their party. I've had fun giving baby showers. I've had fun giving sipping seeds. My daughter is engaged and pregnant. So we're trying to figure out, well, she says that she wants a big baby shower and a small wedding. Me and my mom want her to get married before she gives birth. She's saying no because she wants to be nicely figured. So that's a decision that we have to allow her to make, because we can't make decisions for other people. We can lead them in the right direction that we think is right, but ultimately it is their decision. Because she's my daughter, I'm going to stand behind her. And yeah, and just let her do what's best for them. That's what I'm going to do. So if she wants a big baby shower. Now, I'm not doing a big baby shower and a big wedding. I'm not doing that. So either she can get a big baby shower, with Tony Wolf, most definitely with Tony Wolf, a big baby shower with all the bells and whistles, honey, like nobody else can do it but Tony. Or she can have a wedding with all kind of bells and whistles. I'm not sure as to what she wants, but whatever she wants, that's what she will get. So that's how that goes. Okay, you guys? All right, you guys, you have a wonderful day. Okay, let me see. Hold on, Brandy. I see you. Hold on. Oh, yeah, she wants cute pictures. That's it, honey. She doesn't want anything else but cute pictures. Oh, thanks, Catrice. Thanks so much. Maybe next time you can join me, because my co-host just disappeared. I don't know what she went through. All right. So talk to you guys later. Okay, good looking.